Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 64 of the Seezus show. We're back at it. Full week of the NBA has been taking place. The second week has already been taking place. It's been overall great basketball. Excited for this week's episode. So just to rehash last week's episode, Trey returned again, and we just discussed NBA opening week, Zion's injury, and much more going on. So awesome first week. Like I said, the follow-up was even more grand, more spectacular. So looking forward to the season. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for my boy, a.k.a. co-host, Trey.
What's up, y'all? What's popping with you? I hope everybody had a great week. We are back here again to discuss the hottest topics, and I'm happy to be here, man. Another day, another dollar, and hey, what's good with you, Sewell?
Nothing much, man. My mom came back from Orlando, Florida, came to visit us in the 7-5. So
Home cooking.
We literally had a red table discussion. It was her, my aunt, and then my aunt's sister, and it was me. And it was my boy DJ. We're all like just getting lectured, and she was talking like how to treat a woman.
Oh wow, that's the good stuff.
Yeah, she was talking about the good stuff. It was great. I loved it. 3 strong Black African American women. You can't beat that, right?
Ever.
But that was good. What about you? How you been?
Been big cooling, man. Just grinding on some stuff on life. About to start coaching a basketball team, a middle school basketball team. Very excited about that. Just to instilling some youth, man. Do what I love, which is teaching the game, getting people enthusiastic about the game, and applying lessons that you learn in the game, helping them apply it to life and even further off the court. So I'm really excited about that.
Props to you, man.
You already know.
Always making moves. I love it. My God.
You heard?
Cool. You ready for these week's topics or this episode's topics? Right?
On God. On God.
All right. First thing I want to talk about is Steph Curry. So many of you guys have known Steph Curry was injured this past Wednesday, I believe, or something like that. But he's playing the Suns. It was the third quarter, and they were down 83-54. And he basically tries to go past Kelly Oubre, drive to the basket, and Aaron Baines comes out of nowhere, tries to draw a charge. Steph Curry goes up, falls down. Aaron Baines' lower body essentially just falls on his hand. And right away, I thought it was a wrist injury because I was watching it. I was a little bit bored, but ended up figuring out that he actually broke his left hand. So he's going to be sidelined for about 3 months following his surgery. And it's kind of been an up and down year. Obviously, we already know the Warriors' state of mind, losing all their key pieces and whatnot. We knew that they're really going to have to rely on their young talent and Draymond, obviously Steph and D'Angelo Russell to carry that load, but this was a pretty rocky year. I mean, I know it's a small sample size, but Steph Curry in 4 games only been averaging 20 points, 6.5 assists, 4 rebounds. Which is shocking to me is that he only averaged a percentage of 20. He was 24% from 3 and 41% from field. Very un-Steph-like. Yeah. But what does this mean for Steph? Not the Warriors. What does this mean for Steph moving forward? How do you feel about the injury and whatnot?
This is essentially his return back to his home state or where he spent probably a lot of time in Charlotte. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is the start of that saga. I'm not going to say it's going to happen in the next 2 years, maybe 3, 4. But remember a few years ago he was questioned about it. It's like, yeah, it would be cool to play, and with the Hornets again. And maybe it wasn't the Bobcats at the time, but it was the Hornets because the last few years have been the Hornets. So I think this is going to be the spiral because I know essentially what's parallel is the success of the Warriors. And the Warriors will not be back to prominence. They won't. Unless they tank this year and next year, but nobody has time for that. Klay still has a lot of good basketball in him. Klay wants to get paid, which they could get paid at the Warriors, being the middle of the pack in the Western Conference team that they're going to be. It leaves room for D'Angelo Russell to also get paid and to find a home on the West Coast, which didn't look like it was going to be before. But now you have these injuries. You have essentially Draymond, who's a catalyst type player.
He just got hurt too.
Who just got hurt, so it's like, who are we playing at this point? D'Angelo Russell could get a huge payday from this, and it could find him a home for the next 5 years, at least. Klay's gonna come back, maybe not this year, maybe the end of this year. We'll see a little bit more stuff, but I just don't see the Warriors returning to prominence. It's gonna take an all-star D'Angelo Russell. It's gonna take like 1 or 2 more pieces before that because you lost Kevin Durant. Draymond's hurt. At the same time, who knows if Draymond's going to be able to keep it up with a different team that's not the same kind of, the same kind of outlook and the same kind of layout that it was before for so many years.
Yeah.
I just think this is the end of an era. It's been really good, but it's going to be a total change. And Steph Curry, it could be the beginning of the end of the road for him at Golden State per se.
Well, I have to disagree with you on that one. The Golden State Warriors are not going to build essentially a $1 billion new arena to have Steph go elsewhere. So I think Steph is like a Dirk Nowitzki, like a D Wade. Obviously, D Wade left for a year or two, came back, and then you have like a Tim Duncan. I think he's a for lifer there. Yeah, so that's out of the way. And obviously, the Warriors start off 1-5. Sheesh. What does it mean for the team? And I was saying this a little earlier. I think it's a blessing in disguise. I think now we really had no expectation for the Warriors. Now the expectations are completely thrown out. Yeah. Obviously, to start off 1-5, you have Steph Curry out for 3 months. Honestly, I'm not going to really play him like that or put him on a minutes restriction. This is a lost year. Like you said, Klay's gone. Draymond is a good player, but he only really thrives when he has talent around him. So this is kind of a lost year. And another thing that's great is when you think about it, besides Katie coming there, them signing Iggy and whatnot, they drafted Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green. So I think they're one of the best teams who are good at developing young talent. So the fact that their stars are all gone, you're going to have time now to let your talent grow, let them develop. So they're going to have a lot of games under them, a lot of minutes being played. So by the time Klay comes back, Steph comes back, Draymond's back, they're going to be a pretty good team next year. So this year is a lost year for them, definitely, but I think it's going to be a blessing in disguise for them, too. And honestly,
very true.
They should tank. I'm not a fan of it, but it's the West. It just gets better and better every single year. So definitely I would tank. They have as long as they get a draft pick 1 through 20 is protected. Yeah. So my whole thing is, my boy was talking about a little bit, I got to see how the contracts are fair and whatnot. But there's a guy named Giannis Antetokounmpo who basically has 2 years left on his deal. Sheesh. So my theory is
that's real scary.
The fact that Steph is out, Klay's out, Draymond just hurt his finger. I don't know how long he's going to be out for. They got this young talent basically. D'Angelo Russell's going to build up his stock. He has, I think, 25 to 27 mil in his contract this year. Yeah. And I looked at the numbers. Giannis Antetokounmpo has about 25, 26 mil on his salary as well, too. He has 2 years left on his contract. But if you recall, there was a man named Anthony Davis who had about 2 years left on his contract as well, too. There's been rumors earlier if Giannis isn't happy, things can happen. So if they don't get to the finals this year, or maybe let's say, get blindsided and lose in the second round, what if he doesn't want to resign? Because next year he's going to be eligible for that Supermax. If you don't get the Supermax and declines it, that essentially tells ownership, his teams, that he's not committing long-term. I'm out. So what are you going to do? You may possibly force a trade. So if you force a trade, let's say the Warriors on some BS get the number 1 pick, and then you get D'Angelo Russell with that. I think that's good. I feel
like if that happens, then Adam Silver has to blow up the conferences. He really has to just do away with the conferences. I mean,
snip the jump.
Yeah, just snip it, at least for playoff purposes. You know what I'm saying? But for on a regular season, maybe you have to keep them together a little bit because travel and expense, stuff like that.
Exactly.
Efficiency. But
and then at that point, because it's 2-2, 1-1-1.
Yeah.
At that point, you may just have to go back to early 2000 when it was 2-3-2 format in the playoffs. I think that will work with traveling a little bit, just a little bit. But yeah, keep going.
That's just what it is. You get Giannis over there. We don't know the perennial powers in the East that are gonna emerge, but it just doesn't seem like it. Kawhi's 31, 30. How old is Kawhi?
27.
27. That's scary.
Yeah.
I aged him like
young,
a motherfucker.
brother.
I aged him like a...
This dude is he 31?
31? I don't know. Because all the LeBron comparisons, who's the best player in the league right now? Kawhi's the best player in the league right now. LeBron, no disrespect to LeBron. He went off for, smooth 39 points against the Mavs to pull out a win that was essentially a playoff game.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that.
And yeah, we'll get into it later. But as far as just Kawhi just has it right now.
Yeah.
And we've been taken aback, or not taken aback, but we've just gotten so spoiled by LeBron's superstar, but Kawhi's doing it. So between him and LeBron, they're up there. And it's just I feel like the West isn't gonna get any weaker over the next few years. I just don't see the East getting exponentially better. So if Giannis ever goes to the West, just the whole conference thing, do away with it.
Yeah,
For the
because
playoffs.
you got the next big stars with Ben Simmons, Joel Embiid. Aside from that,
Peacekeeper.
Maybe Pascal Siakam, but he doesn't have that sex appeal in the NBA quite yet. We know he's very talented. Dude's averaging 28 this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. If that happens, you have to blow up the East and West, just make it the NBA standings,
Yeah.
and literally seed 1 through 16. 1 plays 16, 2 plays 17, yada yada yada, and let's see what happens from there. That would be actually very fire. So I think it's gonna happen eventually because the East is trash. I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some young talented team. Atlanta Hawks gonna be good in a couple of years. Chicago is making strides. Indiana's still competitive. Boston's always gonna be good. Toronto's solid too, but they're not as up to date, up to speed as these Western teams.
It's really gonna hurt people's feelings though, from a management ownership standpoint, because you're gonna go from eighth in the East to 20th in the league. It's we're 8th in the East, we're doing pretty well, we're better than last. We're 20th in the league. Yeah. It's ew, dog.
High key, probably 4 teams would probably from the East go to playoffs every year.
Probably gonna be hurt, dog. It's gonna turn into NCAA selection committee. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be you had a weak conference, so we're not even gonna take you. You know, so it is a lot of politics in that. There's a lot of ways they could fix it. They used to blow up teams back in the day, and not blow up teams, but they would have the teams. They would make a team. So they would pull from different teams and stuff like that, like we've seen in different ESPN 30 for 30s and just knowing basketball. But it'll be interesting, going forward, the frontier of basketball and it becoming damn near the most popular sport. So we'll see what happens.
Definitely. Shout out to Jimmy Butler. He missed the first 3 games because he had a newborn. So props to him. I don't know if it's a boy or girl, but I know it's always a blessing having a kid in your life.
Little buckets.
Little Jimmy buckets. So he missed the first 3 games, ended up playing on the 29th and 31st against the Hawks as well, too. He looked pretty good, man. Obviously, it's going to take him a couple of games to finally get in form, get back in shape and whatnot. But,
Jimmy's
man,
a monster.
He's a monster. Definitely a top 20 player to me. And it seems like, obviously, a lot of people, including myself, were kind of butthurt that he left Philly because – obviously, you weren't going to get the amount of shots you wanted, but we already knew what you brought to the table. We knew that Philly needed a closer, and you were going to deliver. And I feel like, honestly, if you didn't leave, y'all still would have kept Tobias Harris as well, too. May have had to get rid of J.J. Redick, but you guys would definitely have been a lot to get back to the finals as well, too. But it seems like he made the right move, man. This Miami Heat team is pretty good. I didn't even know about Kendrick Nunn. Yeah. He's averaging 23 this year. I thought Winslow was going to be their point guard, but now you got Nunn there, and then you got Dragic to back him up. You got Tyler Hero, who's arguably top 5 for Rookie of the Year, who is a dog. You got Jimmy. I already said Winslow. They're pretty good from the backcourt / wing position. I think aside from Adebayo, they could get a little bit of help with their bigs, but with Spo there and Jimmy Butler leading the charge and everyone just thriving off his energy because they play like some dogs and they're great defensively.
Very much so.
What are your expectations for Jimmy Butler and this new look Heat team? I like it.
Yeah, I like them too. Again, Eric Spoelstra, when even when he doesn't have a very much talented team, he's had a young team these last few years. He's a damn good coach. When we saw him with the essential golden big 3 Miami, but Eric Spoelstra's coaching talent and ability, no bounds. Definitely when he has really good players around him, and even when he doesn't, he does really well. My question for all of this is, and it's a good team, Will this team beat Philly?
Miami Heat?
Yeah, in
Nah.
a 7-game series, would they beat Philly?
No. They're too young.
Because of the big man present, or just too young right now too. So what's the top 3 things that would hurt them by not beating Philly?
Size, experience. Yeah, there's honestly just the size and experience. Eric Spoelstra may have a coaching edge possibly, but it's kind of. I mean, he's a solid coach. Don't get me wrong. Like you say, he just never had the talent around there. But I think the overall size and experience would be the determining factor, and just star power. Yeah. They got Al Horford, former All-Star, Tobias Harris, All-Star caliber player, Ben Simmons, and Joel Embiid.
Yeah,
that's probably. I mean, it'll be competitive. Don't get me wrong, because Eric Spoelstra always gets the best out of his players. But I think honestly, like Jimmy's due to give you one game, but.
When the last
might
time
be done in 5.
Stole a playoff series?
I don't know.
And then 2, with all that being said, does this still make this the best decision for Jimmy Butler to have made as far as like getting, or maybe his decision wasn't for trying to win a championship? I don't know, but
well, I think he just wanted to be the guy. And like I said, he probably saw what the young talent was up to, and he's like, "Yo, I want to be a part of this." So they're fine. Yeah. They're definitely going to be fine.
Okay. For them to have a really breakout year, do you think it'll be? Give me a time frame, 2, 3 years, or like what?
Oh, like for them to be like competitive,
like top in the East, maybe.
Probably about like 2 years, 1 to 2 years.
They're like a piece or 2 away, probably.
Because they're second place in the East right now. I think they're 4-1, and then I think Philly's either 4-0 or 5-0 right now. So. They may shock us. I mean, their strength of schedule is kind of weak a little bit too, but they may shock us, and they're definitely gonna make the playoffs this year, I think. But I see them like they could be as high as a 3-4 seed, but I feel like they're gonna be like a 5 through 8 when it's all said and done. Because Boston's impressing me too right now.
Yeah, I just feel like the East on the top side at least is oversaturated. I mean, to appreciate the East for what it is, but just being by itself. You know, if the East was an individual league, you could really make some arguments like, all right, the East is getting better. Like, you don't really know here and there. But just when you turn and look at your neighbor's yard over there in the West, it's like, damn, like, yikes. Like, they got that good grass over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, but, hey, he looked very well, like we said. And we'll see what happens. I think Jimmy made the best decision. They're a piece or 2 away.
Cool. Next thing we want to talk about is the WWE main event.
2 claps in a replay.
Karl Anthony Towns and Joel Embiid. It was crazy because I was literally driving home from work and I was watching the Jump. We'll play back from the Jump on ESPN's YouTube channel. And basically they were talking about how Karl Anthony Towns like he was asked from a reporter about how he matches up against Joel Embiid. Is it going to be like a rivalry? Yada, yada, yada. He said, I'm not really trying to get caught up in this, individual matchup. I'm more so about getting these dubs. I was like, all right, I respect you. You're showing growth and maturity as well. Obviously, y'all only time going to playoffs was with Jimmy Butler as well, too. Apparently, Jimmy Butler, not apparently, definitely accused you and Andrew Wiggins of being very, very soft. And it was crazy. How did it even start? So basically, I think
off a rebound.
Who started it? Go rewind that jump.
Off a rebound. It doesn't show it. That's the thing. It was off a rebound. This is just.
Wait.
Right here we go.
I guess they were just getting super competitive and.
Like I see Joel Embiid coming to the frame real hard. I feel like they might have been boxing each other out. So that's Simmons up there. You see Embiid fully extend for the push, but it's always. What the ref doesn't see. So it could have been like Towns kind of give him a little shove and then Embiid retaliated. But Embiid went full force ready for all the smoke. Like he wanted all the smoke.
And it's like, damn, like at first when I was watching it live, well, I didn't watch it live. I think I got a Twitter notification. I was like, oh shit, they scrapping. And looking back, I was like, no hands were thrown. They literally it was like sumo wrestling right there. And then one thing led to another. They went on the floor. And then apparently Ben Simmons and Cat actually cooled off the court. Ben Simmons has him in the crippler crossface on some Crispin Wash shit. And I'm like, yo, why are you strangling this man right now? Like,
you see like in one shot, like dudes flailing, like his feet are just kicking.
Yeah.
Oh, this is This is good stuff. This is good NBA. This is good basketball.
It was so stupid. Like,
Peacekeeper.
There was a lot of like Twitter memes. There was a WWE match when like they literally made Cat tap out. Like that joint geek.
Cat's Joel Embiid kicking his feet, dog.
Joel Embiid is super hype right now. Like y'all ain't really do nothing. It's good for the league though. I actually like it. You know what I'm saying? We need some form of physicality in the league that isn't as harsh as it used to be from back in the day as well too. But
I love this.
Cat and Joel Embiid got suspended 2 games. Look at them tapping out right there. They got suspended 2 games each without pay. It was crazy that Ben Simmons didn't get any suspensions and what.
He's a peacemaker.
Peacemaker?
He's a peacemaker.
Making someone tap out. That's crazy. It was funny because Jimmy Butler had an interview like a day later. He was like, I knew once I heard about this, I knew in some way my name was going to get brought up. And he said, I knew that Joel Embiid was going to be the one to do something. But he said he liked it. He liked the competitive nature out of it and whatnot. And it was crazy because afterwards they had some words to exchange. I don't think I have the pictures of what they were saying. But basically, Cat was just saying that he ain't no bitch. Joel Embiid was saying he ain't no bitch either. And they were just going back and forth on social media. And it's crazy because, like, in NBA Media Day,
I think Joel Embiid
Rachel Nichols and Joel Embiid had a conversation, and he was saying, like, I'm done being childish. Like, I'm just going to play basketball, blah, blah, blah. Psych.
That's why we love Joel Embiid, dog. That's why we love him. He's a troll.
Yeah, we definitely need that. But what are your thoughts on, you know, this whole scuffle that they had? And I can't wait. I think they don't play each other till, like, March. So that should better be televised right now. But what are your thoughts on everything?
I think this is beautiful, man. Like, when we do it, do I want to see black men fighting on TV? No, not unless it's like UFC or boxing, because that's the actual name of the game. You know what I'm saying? But there's just like some stuff you can't avoid. Some people don't like each other. Some people are gonna get into it. Like, understand it's like, granted, it's not the old and big where people like literally fouling them and taking out the air and stuff like that. But some scuffles here and there literally make it like you wanna have it to be class. It's not hockey, all right. But some stuff like this here and there is just like, yo, like, this is real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are actually real people and not robots. Which I think the NBA might be the most outspoken league for the most part. But, yo, this is dope. Like, like, it's dope. And it's just, like, all the parts from it. Like, you have the internet that takes stuff, and you have people to do the voiceovers. Again, shout out DJ Michi Meech. Really, really hot with this one. But, it's just funny because just so many aspects of it. You rewind a video and it's like, oh, look at Ben Simmons. Oh, look at Karl Anthony Towns. Look at the security guard. It's like, do you get paid enough to go tackle a 7-foot tall person? You know what I'm saying? Like, do you lose your job if you just stand by, or do I have to go and tackle Karl Anthony Towns? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just so much of it. I think between them two, Joel Embiid's like an elephant. He's not gonna forget. You know what I'm saying? Taking a mental note. Karl Anthony Towns gonna be playing and stuff like that, which they have a lot of room for growth on Minnesota. So, and he's the guy up there for the most part. So they're going to see each other again in March, and it's going to be maybe not as much players. They might get a warning from the league, like, hey, don't start this. But it is going to be a must-watch game because we've seen this. And it's a game that might have not been a must-watch game before this. So I think
ratings went up.
Ratings went up, you know, booming. Business is booming, but yeah.
Booming, man.
Oh, and you see Mike Scott over there, Joel Embiid.
Hyping him up.
Go straight to Mike Scott on 7-5. That's on 7-5. Yeah. Nah, really, really funny. Really, I don't know. It was good for the league.
Yeah, so we'll see. So stay tuned in the future. Hopefully they fight again. I definitely want to see that. Moving on, KD, man. One thing I appreciate, you know, obviously he's injured, so prayers up to his, you know, speedy recovery and whatnot. But I really appreciate KD's just his personality, like off the court, and then his basketball IQ. You know, he's been all over, you know, the internet lately in different shows and whatnot. Obviously he has his own show, The Boardroom. He was on First Take, and he was part of Serge Ibaka's How Hungry Are You show, and he was also on Knucklehead. So he's been all over the place. So it's pretty good to see Kevin Durant, just speak his mind all the time. So he was on First Take. They talked about a couple things, and they're also trying to promote his show, The Boardroom. Him and Stephen A. Smith were on that with Jay Williams. Jay Williams was orchestrating everything. And then basically I mean, I don't really want to get into the bull room because he was already on First Take last week Thursday, but asked by Coach Stephen A. Smith if when whatchamacallit. So basically, he was saying did Draymond Green play a big role in essentially leaving and going to going to Brooklyn, and he said a little bit, yeah, for sure. I mean, your teammate talks to you that way, you think about it a bit, and then he said we talked about it, but definitely for sure, I'm not going to lie about it. And they said that on top of the media always asking him about like the current situation, always asking him about free agency. He thought that it was time to leave. And then they said his overall reasoning in leaving the Warriors, with whom he reached 3 Finals NBAs with, was that he felt like they needed a switch. And I quote, I felt like a lot of stuff in Golden State had reared its head, and I felt like that was going to be the end of that group no matter what. He continued, Sean Livingston was retiring, Andre Iguodala was getting older, and our contracts were going to stifle the team and put us in a hole to get other players. So it was time for all of us to kind of separate. So he talked about that as well too, and then he also talked about like his move, leaving and basically leaving OKC, going into the Warriors. And basically he was saying that he didn't really look at it as essentially joining a super team. He said, I don't really see any more growth in OKC, and I feel like from a pure basketball standpoint, to excel my game to another level, Golden State was the best option. But what are your thoughts on him chiming in and speaking and whatnot?
I didn't get to see this interview on the first 2 days that it happened. I'm getting more of a recap now and just kind of doing my research over the last little bit.
Yeah.
But nah, I think anytime Kevin Durant speaks, he's been known to be Twitter fingers or whatever like that. But, NBA players are people too. They have social media, and some people are more active on social media than others. But I think Kevin Durant and him being in the media is good for the game, because Kevin Durant's not gonna give you BS. He's gonna actually tell you how he feels, for one.
Yeah.
And this is stuff that people don't look at when they see the ESPN headline, because ESPN is there just to talk about how it's going to affect the game and to continually air the stories. Very rarely do they focus on just like the mindset of the player in that aspect. It could be an interview here and there, but as far as him saying that, we all knew Draymond's thing was going to factor into it, because no matter what, you getting publicly called soft and we don't need you, we never need you to make the playoffs. That's gonna, if it happened behind closed doors, maybe so. Maybe all right. But he did that. He decided to do it on national television. Granted, Draymond Green shouldn't have the ball in his hands that game at all, going towards the end of the game, other than to pass it to Kevin Durant. You know what I'm saying?
The best player.
That's what you do.
You either trade Draymond or I'm rocking.
I'm rocking, right? And even like the insight about the contracts, like we always talk about contracts and how like, all right, are they gonna have enough money to pay people? But at the end of the day, real people make decisions, either leaving their jobs, breaking up relationships, or just deciding when's the right time to move to another spot. All the time, it's like, all right, this is gonna be kind of stifling. It's not gonna be the same. Rather than sit there in what was a really good spot for a while and watch it like burn to the ground, why not decide to go your separate ways in peace and just have a better feeling about it and get your new start off right, instead of having like to try to crawl your way out of something after it's already been like destroyed and demolished. So like that was great insight on that. Sean Livingston being gone, Andre Iguodala, of course, was getting older, and you see his situation right now. As well as there was rumors that Clay might be ready to get gone too, because that was even more of a legacy that he was going to have to share with KD, rather than kind of stick out now, which is now that he's kind of hurt, will be coming back next year or at the end of this year. It gives him a little bit more wiggle room to really show the basketball player or superstar that he wants to be in the media, I guess. The last thing, which was the kind of him seeing it as a super team. A lot of people everybody's like, oh, super team, oh, it's soft and stuff like that, but nobody's like, oh, how is one of the best players in the world going to get better? That's what the good players think about. It's like, how am I going to get better? Like, how I feel like from a LeBron standpoint, it's always like, all right, how good can LeBron make this team? Because that's what we've seen for LeBron over and over again. KD really thrives off of his more individual accolades because he's a perfectionist. He can literally, it can be him scoring the ball the whole game, and you can still have a chance to win. For LeBron teams, LeBron has to get like his people involved, and that's the greatness in both of them in a way. You know, KD can do one thing really well, which he's a scoring nightmare. He's the best scorer in the world. LeBron, best basketball player, best floor general, probably the highest basketball IQ that's in the game maybe I've ever played. Two separate things was like, how can I get myself better? Two different lanes, and I think KD's insight was damn great in this interview. I think it was cool that they got to sit down. Stephen A. Smith is the master criticizer, master journalist, master interviewer, and just having Jay there too that's big time. So it was dope.
For sure. And then a few things. He named his current 5. He didn't have a top 5 list, but he named his top 5 players that he enjoyed watching. It's pretty interesting. Obviously, put Kyrie in there. That's his teammate, but who doesn't like watching Kyrie? What he's been doing for Brooklyn, man, has been kind of OD. Facts. They just need to play some goddamn defense. So he named Kyrie, LeBron James, Jay Harden, Joel Embiid, and Damian Lillard. And then when he was actually on, I think, Knucklehead's podcast, Knucklehead asked him, with his current team, the Nets, and then his past teams with Golden State, and with OKC, who would you choose for your top 5? Who would be your starting 5?
Yeah.
So for his point guard, he named Kyrie. Yeah. Shooting guard, James Harden. Small forward, obviously himself. Draymond at the 4, and then Ibaka at the 5. And a lot of people are saying damn, well, how you gonna not include Westbrook, or how you not gonna include Steph Curry? What are your thoughts on that? Do you think he just didn't include them because he's on the Nets right now?
I don't think so. I mean, he put Draymond in there, which Draymond, but I think it was coming from really a basketball player standpoint, and too, when I hoop at the gym and stuff like that, there's certain players you want on your team, you try to run the whole day or something like that. You want your team because they can pick up the slack when you're not doing well and stuff like that, or it's going to be a lot of good basketball players on the floor, but sometimes as far as cohesiveness goes, you're not going to pick everybody just to fill up the rim the whole time. You know what I'm saying? So I might pick somebody that can shoot because, I want to be able to penetrate. I can get my mid-range jumpers. I want a big man that's going to rebound. I'm not the greatest rebounder ever. I want maybe somebody that's going to be able to run the point guard show because I want to come up and I want to use that elbow extended, get over there, get it on the wing, either pass it around or make my move, kick it to the corner guy, and then once he shoots, the big man can get the rebound. Then we have a Swiss Army knife that's either going to be me or it's going to be somebody else on the other side that's going to, do all the other stuff that the court needs to be. So when he says that, if he's going to be taking a lot of the shots, if he's going to have guys like Kyrie who can also get their shots open, you have James Harden, correct? So those are guys. There's no need for Steph Curry in that lineup in a way. So if he could have another lineup, and Steph Curry could be in there just the same. But as far as that team that he put together, there wasn't really a need for Steph Curry, and from a defensive standpoint.
But it's funny too because Katie was like, "Yeah, we could switch on everything," and I was like, "Whoa!" I just broke up the record. I was like, Kyrie. I mean, Kyrie gives you effort, when needs be. But James Harden, what? Honestly, I'll kind of change that around. I'll put Russ at the 1.
Okay.
It's crazy because I feel like KD would want playmakers with him.
Yeah.
So I'll put Russ 1. I was torn between Clay as well because I think they really play good together. But I'll go OKC with Draymond. That's what I'm doing, man.
OKC with Draymond.
OKC with Draymond. That's OD.
That's hard to beat. And Russ can defend people. KD's a damn good defender, even though he's not talks about it. James Harden might be your only weak link, but I think he can play defense.
And we saw what they did when they weren't even in their prime yet.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm going with now.
I feel it.
Yeah, next thing I want to talk about is Kyrie Irving and his mood swings.
You want to be the what? Star player.
Yeah. So I'm just going to quote a lot of things. So essentially, they always find a way to, I guess he's in New York market too, but they always find a way to somewhat get Kyrie, in the negative light of things. So
very much so.
They say Kyrie Irving's mood swings are reportedly an unspoken concern in Brooklyn. They said as Kyrie gets accustomed to playing in Brooklyn, his teammates are getting used to him too. In a piece written by ESPN's Jackie McMullen, she basically detailed how the Brooklyn Nets are trying to find chemistry between Kyrie, the new additions, and the overall team as well. And then they went on to say, with that, Kyrie Irving's attitude is something that the Nets organization has had to get used to since his arrival. According to Jackie McMullen, his mood swings have made Nets officials reportedly queasy. In Santa Monica, Irving refused to participate with the Nets performance team while they were getting information on biometric data. He said, and I quote, "I'm not doing that." Then, when the team was in China, he had an episode that left the team confused as to what had caused it. In quotes, when Irving lapses into these funks, he often shuts down, unwilling to communicate with the coaching staff, front office, and sometimes even his teammates, McMullen wrote. Nets team sources say one such episode occurred during Brooklyn's trip to China, leaving everyone scratching their heads as to what precipitated it. While it's unclear what exactly happened in China, iHeartRadio digital strategist Christopher Levino tweeted that while the team was taking a photo at the Pearl TV Tower, Irving refused to take off his hat and told the team to Photoshop it off again. While it's unclear what exactly happened in China, iHeartRadio digital strategist Christopher L. tweeted that while the team was taking a photo at the Pearl TV Tower, Irving refused. Oh, you already took off the hat. So that was something that came about, and what's crazy is that KD. Do you have that sheet right there? I think I have a sheet with KD. KD was basically saying that I guess Brooklyn wanted him to talk with them, and KD was basically saying like how like Kyrie's an artist and he's just a different cat, and you just gotta give him his own space and whatnot. But honestly, like
That's interesting.
it's interesting because that kind of one thing that validated like him and his struggles and whatnot was I saw that J.R. Smith commented and he said, "Damn, young God, already." So it makes me kind of think like this is probably something that has been reoccurring, has been about for a while. Back in Cleveland, and then obviously with the whole Boston locker room was just killed. It was like, damn, is Kyrie like that type of cat? But at the end of the day, like obviously it's sports, man. I can even admit too, like, and just being a human being, like you're not always gonna be in an uppity mood all the time. Like people gotta realize, like obviously we try to wear that mask on our face and always try to see the positive things in life as well too. But a lot of people be going through a lot of stuff that you don't know about, and some people aren't the best at hiding their emotions as well too. For example, with me, like there's some days when I go to work, I don't really want to talk to people, and I'll give you that body language that obviously don't mess with me. I'm still gonna get my work done. I know what I gotta do, and that's that. There's just some days where I need that time to myself. There's some days I'm not gonna always be the most happy. So I understand them completely and 100%. Like basketball is basketball. I love the game itself, but what I do outside of basketball, that shouldn't affect any of you guys. At the end of the day, like this is my life. This is how I choose to live my life. This is what I want to do on a daily basis. So, I mean, obviously, people have emotions. People have up and downs. Like it's just life. But what are your thoughts on his whole mood swings and everything else?
I gotta hit you with that. It's just one of them days, and that a girl goes through when I'm angry inside. I don't wanna take it out on you. Just one of them days. I don't take it personal.
This guy.
But I wanna be on my. Oh no, classic Monica, yo. But nah, on God, like some people had them days, and some people have them more drastically than others. You don't know like emotionally what ties into people and what makes them tick. You don't know what's gonna bring them up and down. Sometimes you don't know on a day if you're gonna be up or you're gonna be down. But you like everybody fights to try to be on the up. That's just human nature to just try to be feeling good and stuff like that, whether it be an NBA superstar or it be Joe Blow or it be Sir Seezus or it be Trey Day all day. You already know.
AKA Trey Skywalker.
It's your me on 7 Cinco. But it's interesting because I think maybe it wouldn't have reared his head as much because Kyrie was a focal point in Cleveland, but we realized just how much that he wasn't compared to LeBron. And that always just rears its head over and over again that LeBron was the focal point of that team, and it was
For
an
sure.
older team at that. So it's like we know how to handle it. Which might have a little bit better media presence, and with them winning and always making it to the conference finals and stuff like that and getting their stuff together. It might not have been a concern as much for the media. The media's like, oh, well, how are they playing? What are the numbers? Now something else to talk about because they've painted this picture. Media is very good with doing it. They've made a character for Kyrie Irving and they're running with it. Yeah. So we don't know what's the media just honing in on him and just kind of like picking with him and what's actually Kyrie Irving. But everybody knows that people can have mood swings. People can be certain ways. We've seen this in lower levels of the game. We've seen like players like Grayson Allen that have taken it out on the court. But, Kyrie's not taking this out on the court. He's just kind of doing it with the interpersonal relationships. And will it make it hard to work with somebody? Yes, but at the same time, Kyrie's doing everything you want him to do on the court. So with people and how they tick, I always tell people it's like, all right, if I know how a person works, growth for me is not pressing those buttons, but, working with them through that and not honing in on like, monsterizing them. I can't find the word, but not making them the bad guy because that's how they are, but working with them and going further, knowing that they have those ticks and those quirks about their personality. That's growth for everybody. So if it comes to where you can't work with them, then that's a problem. But like if this is this person, this is his music he has, but he's gonna show up for us every night. Like that's you take the good and the bad in every situation, and I think nothing super concerning about Kyrie other than like the track history, kind of like what JR was just saying, dang, already. Like maybe somebody needs to talk to him. Maybe somebody needs to say, hey, are you all right? Rather than just getting the media reports and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So I wish him the best. Everybody has their things, but wish Kyrie Irving the best.
Wish him the best. Definitely. Don't worry about a young fella. Keep it up.
Young God.
Just get those wins. Winning takes care of everything. So some notable things that I want to just highlight. Trae Young sprained his ankle. I don't know when his timetable for return is. Hawks only go as he goes. So I think with Trae Young, they're not in any rush to make the playoffs. If they make the playoffs, hooray for them. But honestly, just make sure you're healthy. You're good to go, and you should be fine.
I think Cam Reddish really gets a chance to get exposed and figure out where he needs to work on his game at, and for us to actually see his game a little bit more with him being out. So
for sure, definitely gonna stay tuned with him as well too. James Harden is leading the league in points per game yet again, even with Russell Westbrook on his team.
Crazy.
Top 5 leaders: James Harden 36.6 points, Kyrie 30.5, Dame number 3 at 30, Kawhi at basically 29, and Anthony Davis at 29 as well too. Assist leaders: LeBron James number 1 at 10.8.
LeBron James.
Damn. What was his name? Shannon Sharp was right. He said LeBron would lead the league in assists this year now that he has more talent. Malcolm Brogdon, which is shocking, is number 2 at 10.2. Russ 9.8, Harden 8.6, and Luka at 8.4. I'm shocked by 3-pointers made. Karl Anthony Towns is actually leading the league at 4.5 made a game.
Wow.
Obviously, rebound. It was kind of going back and forth, but Andre Drummond is number 1 yet again at 18.7 rebounds. And I was looking, K-Love averaging 17 boards too.
Wow.
I was shocked with that too. Hopefully he can get out of Cleveland, midway through the season. Blocks, Anthony Davis 2.8. Dwight Howard still in top 5 as well too. And yeah, those are some stats right now.
Good stuff.
But last thing I want to talk about is the Los Angeles Lakers. After getting mollywopped by the Clippers in opening night, they're now number 2 in the West and stand at 4-1 actually right now. So right now they're looking pretty damn good. Right now they're number 2 ranked defense, only allowing 100 points per game. They're the league leaders in blocks at 7.5. They're plus 11.2 in point differentials. And LeBron faced off with Luka, the young generation versus the old generation on some if you ever watched WWE, this is a reference they had back in the day. I think it was like 2003 to 2005. It was like Evolution. It was like Triple H, the OG, going up against Randy Orton. So it was kind of cool seeing LeBron versus Luka. that game was fire. I didn't really get to watch the full game like that because I was busy with my mom. But I ended up watching like the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter and overtime as well too. So Lakers ended up winning 119 to 110 in overtime. And it was a duel because
Tough.
growing up, Luka always idolized LeBron James, which a lot of people do as well too. But he's tough, man. Luka had 31 points, 15 rebounds, 13 assists. And LeBron went stupid and had 39 points, 16 assists, 12 rebounds
LeBron looks
as well too. So I was like, damn.
He looks ridiculous.
A couple things I want to touch on. One for you, and then we can go to the next topic.
Yeah.
One with Luka and his performance, and obviously what he's been doing. Obviously, he's been playing. He's kind of like a Lionel Messi, been playing professional since he was a young kid. Over in Spain, and kind of came over here. So he was already NBA ready by the time he got here. He actually said last year that this league is kind of easy to him.
Sheesh.
But what are your thoughts on Luka? You think he's a future? Do you think he can be a future MVP? And then after that, can Luka and Porzingis carry this team to the playoffs this year?
Luka's definitely the future of this team. He has that Raz tap skibbly dibbly do, and that's what Lakers kind of had problems with. But gotta keep a straight face. But Luka's a beast, dog. Like we haven't really seen anything like it because we don't really know. Well, I know we probably seen some stuff like it, but at this level, people just playing, for their clubs over in their countries, and then just coming over to the NBA and going crazy. We haven't seen like a prodigy like this in a while. I mean, Porzingis came over, damn good pick, but somebody just like a Luka is just different. So, do they think they can get into the playoffs playing like this? Yeah, because this essentially was a playoff game.
It definitely felt like a playoff game, man. Yeah. And we gotta think about it. Like this is such a small sample size. Like KP has been out a year and a half, almost 2 years.
Yes.
Finally fully healthy and is on a new team. So him and Luka don't even really have chemistry like that together. They only have 5 games together.
And they were beating the Lakers a lot of this game.
Yeah, they were beating the Lakers a lot of games. So I think Luka is going to be an MVP within like the next 2 to 5 years. I can definitely see him being MVP. And
I give it 4.
4. Yeah. And then the fact that the Warriors are definitely out of the picture right now, there's another spot open for grabs.
Very much so.
Because we were all saying earlier a couple episodes ago, like, yo, the Pelicans can get the 8th seed. Nah, not this year. Yeah. So I definitely think Dallas is going to make the playoffs this year. And then once, like I said, Kristaps Porzingis is probably going to be in form, I say, by Christmas time or like early January. And then we're definitely going to see them take off as well, too. But going back to the next thing I want to talk about was, like you said, we're so spoiled by seeing LeBron James perform on a consistent basis every year.
Yeah.
But watching him Friday night, you're just like, damn,
in awe
bruh.
Again.
Like, obviously, like, I'm going to have that form of bias with Kawhi Leonard, but I'm only giving Kawhi number 1 right now because of what he did. Like, he's the reigning champion.
Yeah,
so, without a doubt, you got to give him number 1, but the way LeBron played, it was like, yo, I heard what the critics have been saying, and I'm coming for blood right now.
Dog.
And he gave you a signature game, like I said, 39 points, 16 assists, 12 rebounds. That was the first time, I think, since like Magic Johnson that a Lakers player had a stat line like that with 30, 10, 10 type of performance as well, too. But, man, like LeBron, I don't know if he's going to give it to you on a nightly basis, but
he can go off for it anytime.
He can go off for it anytime. And then just defensively, like the Lakers team and just himself in general, he looks locked in.
Yeah.
And I feel like the fact that he has this much talent around him, Kuzma just came back. Shout out to Kyle Kuzma. Played about 18, 19 minutes as well, too. Rondo coming back. He has everything he needs. So I feel like offensively, he doesn't have to carry that load. So maybe it gives him a little bit of that oomph to actually play defense on that end. But if he's locking in on defense and then you got the Twin Towers, whether it be McGee and AD, guarding the paint with, Avery Bradley, Rondo, or Danny Green or whatever, I think they're looking good, man. So good. My question for you is, do you think is he the best player right now? I know you kind of alluded to a little bit earlier saying that, Kawhi was, but I think it's going to be one of those things where obviously they're in LA. Obviously LeBron listens to what the critics say, so I think it's going to be that weekly notion where there is going to go back and forth 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Because the night before that, the Clippers actually hosted the Spurs. I love watching that. Favorite team, favorite player. It was a match made in heaven. And Kawhi went for 38. You know what I'm saying? So I think LeBron was like, "Oh, he did this.
Yeah.
Oh, all right, bet I'm
He's
about to do that." So
looking over.
it's going to be pretty interesting to see. But like, what is your take on everything?
I kind of said it earlier. Just LeBron's greatness is we get so used to it, but when you see stuff like this, when it's like real challenge, it's like, damn, like this is crazy. Between him and Kawhi, I think it's always kind of that running. We're only saying, for me, it's like LeBron's getting older, so it's like we'll see more consistently putting points up from Kawhi, I feel like, than we will from LeBron. But at the same time, LeBron is so consistent in the way he plays the game, like with his assists and like, and that for IQ and basketball purposes might be more a telltale sign than points sometimes about how good a player is, because you have to. Oh my God, Alex Caruso's so great. He's amazing. That was ridiculous. But yeah, so like it might be more of a telltale sign, like where this is, because you have to be able to read the game, know where people are going, and LeBron makes traditional in transition bounce passes look godly. So I mean, those two guys are the best player in the league. That's why the NBA has been so fun, and there's no taking away from LeBron's greatness from his career and now. Mm-hmm. And I think the only thing with Kawhi is he's always actively trying to pursue LeBron in a way, because LeBron's already been there. LeBron's been on the throne. We get so hype about people that are coming like take the throne, like, oh, who's coming to take the throne? But LeBron does have the throne, and Kawhi Leonard is definitely in the castle though. So hey, that's what it is. Danny Green's playing like crazy too.
Oh yeah, and that's what I was gonna kind of talk about a little later. So obviously Kuzma came back after his foot injury or foot strain or whatever. I can't really remember, but Kuzma obviously got to knock some of the rust off. So that just gives another score to that team as well too. And LeBron, if he wants to be participating in load management, you can insert Kuzma right there.
Yeah.
But it was crazy because like Kuzma obviously is going to be on a minute restriction for a little bit. We know what he brings to the table, but now it's going to be like, yo, when Kuzma's fully healthy, is he still going to be on the bench? Is he going to start? And then literally when they were closing the game, they had Dwight at the 5, then they had AD at the 4, LeBron at the 3, and then they had Danny Green and Avery Bradley. Like, where do you see Kuzma fitting in with this team? And is he going to be there during crunch time? Is he going to be a starter? And do they need him to get to where they need to be, which is ultimately winning a championship?
Yeah, they need Kuzma they need Kuzma to get where he needs to be, because they need firepower. And if we're going to really put them against 1 and 2 right now, the LA Clippers, we need bench scoring. So I think Kuzma can have a very fulfilling year. It doesn't have to be with the starters with the first team. Kuzma can be Lou Williams 2.0, if he so chooses to be so. I'm not saying Kuzma's Lou Williams, because that's a whole different ballgame. But Kuzma has the ability to score, the firepower, and he is what they need from a scoring parameters. And I don't think they need it in the starting lineup right now. I think this is solid for right now. It's probably going to change over the season. It's a long season. People might get tweaks and stuff like that. Hopefully nobody gets injured, because this is great basketball right here. But I think Kuzma should just embrace the 6-man role right now. Like, go with it. And the thing is, 6-man, when you come down the stretch, you always want the best people in the game. For matchup purposes, that's where the NBA comes in, like, in the playoffs too. Like, all right, we need to get this person on this person, yada, yada, yada. But I think Kuzma is going to, for this team to really make the playoffs and to get to the championship, I think Kuzma has to be that person right now. If this is going to be the lineup that we're going to stick with. Not saying they are, but Kuzma could be 20, 25 points off the bench, and then the Lakers will be so far ahead of the field.
Honestly, I like the Lakers when they play big. Like and they're not like a slow big. They're very athletic. Like JaVale McGee, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard are all athletic as hell. Yeah. So if you insert Kyle Kuzma into the starting lineup, that means AD has to play the 5, and he doesn't want to play the 5. So, and if you also insert Kuzma into the lineup, I already know now that for a fact, I'm starting LeBron James, I'm starting Anthony Davis, and I'm starting Danny Green. Like they're proven already.
Yeah.
Obviously, Anthony Davis doesn't have that much playoff experience, but everyone else has been battle tested. So those are my 3 dogs I know are going to be there. And then it's like, aside from Danny Green, obviously he's getting older, but he still is a pretty damn good perimeter, defender. Who else are you going to have guard the perimeter that guard a smaller guard? The only thing that comes to mind is Rajon Rondo and Avery Bradley. So it's like, what happens? Is AD going to play that 5 position? Yeah. But we're going to see, man. Lakers look really, really good right now. Through these first 5 games, I definitely have them as the best team in the West right now. Obviously, the Timberwolves have been shocking me a lot as well, too. Clippers are the Clippers right now, too. But Lakers are looking very, very dominant early. Yeah. So
and experienced.
Yeah, and Danny Green was on some show on ESPN. I was watching a YouTube channel yesterday. He was basically saying, like, what's scary is Anthony Davis is not fully in shape yet. I was like, what? You're not fully in shape, and you get 40 points the other night?
That's scary.
Just half of them just from free throws. It's gonna be dangerous, man. It's gonna be dangerous as well too. But yeah, that pretty much concludes everything I have. You got any last words to say?
No, that's everything, man. Really looking forward to the week, man. Some homecoming festivities coming up. Just the relationships, the people, the vibes. That's all. That's all we're really on. More good basketball to come and more hot topics in the future. You already know.
For sure. That was Trade Day right there. And ladies and gentlemen, this was episode 64 of the Seezus Show. Make sure to rate, subscribe, share, comment. Follow us on all forms of social media. Trade Day XSIV, Sir Seezus, and also the Seezus Show. And on that note, we out.